Have you ever wondered what Cartman would look like skinny? Well, look no further. Here it is in all its glory. Huh. If you saw the thumbnail, you already saw this image. Ta-da! So yeah, let's talk about the new special, shall we? And spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Also, I originally had clips for this video, but Paramount tried to copyright strike every single clip, leaving me to have to remake the entire video. And now there's only pictures. Enjoy! This special focuses on the use of Ozempic and other drugs like it, the proclaimed miracle drugs that solve obesity, which most people can't get their hands on because they're really expensive, and it's only given as a prescription to people with diabetes. When I first learned what this special was going to be about, I questioned if this topic was really going to be enough to make an entire special for, and the answer was yes, absolutely. This special essentially has 3 plots around it, all centered around this topic. There's the Cartman plot, the Randy plot, and the Sharon plot. Let's talk about the Cartman arc first. The Cartman story is the main plotline of the special, with the perspective of a typical person who can't afford the drug, but wants to lose weight. And of course, it's Cartman, with his reason to want to be skinny is not because of his health, but just so he can be a dick to everyone, with them not being able to respond because they can't assault him for his weight anymore, which includes insulting Pakistan as a whole. A truly classic Cartman moment. A key figure in this plot is Kyle, who you can argue is actually the main character of the special. He is the perspective of a skinny person who doesn't need the drug, but wants to help those who can really benefit from it, as well as one that shows what it's like dealing with insurance companies and navigating the American healthcare system, in probably the most accurate portrayal of trying to go through that mess I've ever seen. During their story, we first see the struggle of going through the system, before Kyle decides just to make the drug himself, using a factory in India that can supply it, and videos on the internet teaching him how to make it. In the beginning, we see them making good headway, actually making an injection for Cartman, which he tests to see if it works by making one of the most disgusting food combinations I've ever seen, mixing cereal and milk with fried chicken. And how is this a test? Well, his test is to see if he can eat the whole bucket while going to the bathroom. And he couldn't. Mission successful. So yeah, their homemade drug works. And we see Cartman dreaming about being skinny and a dick to everyone. Then waking up and not seeing any results yet. Which something tells me this is a common belief for people who take this drug, that you're just going to wake up one day skinny. But that's not how it works. However, Cartman isn't discouraged by not seeing results, and is excited about losing 1 pound in a week. Unfortunately, the discouragement does come after they are robbed by characters I will talk about in the next plotline. But before getting to that, I want to talk about how they depict Cartman when he's discouraged, where he just quits and decides to gorge himself, thinking to himself, what's the point? And this is a really accurate depiction of what it's like when you are discouraged about weight loss. Maybe not to the extent of making this disgusting bucket, which now includes Twinkies and gravy. Yeah. We'll come back to this plot at the end when they all interconnect. Now let's talk about the Randy plotline, who represents people who can afford the drug, but don't really need it and are abusing the drug, just to lose a couple of pounds. Shown here is a group of housewives who constantly are showing off their midriffs. And damn, can't say they aren't looking good. Randy gets introduced to this group of MILFs, which is what Randy refers to them as in this special. It's not what I perceive them as or anything. Don't judge me. But yeah, the Randy arc starts with him seeing his daughter Shelly wearing a midriff to school, and taking issue with it. Which makes me question if this is Trey Parker expressing his thoughts on his daughter wearing something like this, since she's now roughly Shelly's age. But I don't actually have any proof of that. However, Randy is seemingly used to express what Trey Parker has gone through using the drug himself, which is told to us in the beginning of the special. Anyway, Randy gets into a fight with Shelly about what she's wearing, where he expresses to Sharon what he thinks will happen if Shelly wears those clothes. That she's gonna get mixed up with bad people and start doing drugs. So in retaliation to Shelly, Randy picks her up from school wearing one of her shirts, which gets noticed by Tweek's mom, who's part of the MILF group. And because of what he's wearing, she thinks he's on the weight loss drug too, and she invites him to a drug party, which he misinterprets, thinking she is talking about other drugs, seen by him bringing weed to the party. This is where he's introduced to the weight loss drug, and takes it for the first time, where he seems to really like it. And in the morning, he is shocked that he doesn't feel awful, unlike what usually happens when he takes other drugs. So we see him party with the MILFs a couple times more, before one day going to them and learning they don't have the drug anymore because of a nationwide crackdown, which was caused by people like them abusing it. And what do the MILFs decide to do to get the drug? Start robbing places with it. Of course, looking like this. This leads to the Randy plot connecting to the Cartman one, when they rob Kyle's lab. After which, Randy comes to the realization that he is doing exactly what he was concerned about with Shelly, that he started doing drugs and got mixed up with bad people. Now let's talk about the last arc, which is Sharon's. Admittedly, this isn't a long one, with only a couple of scenes, but it's not something to go unmentioned, as Sharon represents a group of people who can't afford the drug, and just say screw it to the whole idea of weight loss, also known as body positivity, shown here as taking Lizzo, who is one of the key people of the body positivity movement. During this segment, we see a commercial for Lizzo, which has the side effect of crapping out your ears. And this is something that ends up happening to Sharon, with her doctor calling it diabetes, or ear diabetes, which causes Sharon to be prescribed Ozempic, and essentially ending her arc until the end. Now you may be asking, why was this so important to talk about? It's not necessarily because of Sharon, but because of Lizzo and body positivity, which connects to one of the main villains of the special, with that being the sugar industry, represented here by cereal and snack mascots, who greatly benefit from body positivity, because it essentially tells people to keep gorging themselves on all their unhealthy food, making them boatloads of money, which when Kyle creates his drug, he intends to sell it for cheap to people who could really benefit from it, the exact people the sugar industry is capitalizing on, and wants to keep taking Lizzo. And what do they intend to do about this problem? Kill everyone. Or at least the Indian factory, where Kyle has been getting the product he needs to make the drug, and they blame it on body positivity activists. Which in one mindset, you could say the sugar industry is using them as scapegoats, but in reality, they are body positivity activists, because they want body positivity to take over more than anybody. Now with the factory in India being destroyed, Cartman is discouraged yet again. But Kyle has found another supplier in North Carolina, who is already shipping the drug to them. And this is where we get all plot lines connecting to one epic showdown. As the shipment is on its way to Kyle, it gets intercepted by the MILFs, who of course selfishly want all the drugs for themselves. However, this is when Randy says enough is enough, and steals the shipment. And this is where it begins. One of the greatest chase scenes I've ever seen. I really wouldn't be surprised if this was where most of the budget went for the special. And if it was well used. During the chase, the boys join up with Randy, with Butters hanging off the side of the truck. And they had to fend off the truck from the MILFs when all of a sudden, the sugar industry shows up, wanting to destroy the product and kill Randy and the boys. In this scene, we see many intense moments, like Kyle shooting Lucky the leprechaun, causing Twinkie the kid to get cut in half. We see one of the moms inject Ozempic into herself, and then hang off a helicopter landing on top of the truck, only then to get killed immediately. But don't worry, she wasn't one of the known mothers of South Park. And of course, this wouldn't have been complete without the death of Kenny. But Tony the Tiger gets his in the end. Nearing the end of the scene, we see Cartman risking his own life to get the Ozempic injector. But of course, before he can grab it, this happens. The chase ends with Randy crashing into both rival factions, before stopping the truck at Kyle's house, so they can safely store the drug. But when he opens the back, this is what he finds. The insurance company. And this guy tells them that all they have to do to get the drug is go through the American healthcare system, essentially putting a stop to all they've done. After this, we see Sharon about to take Ozempic only to be stopped by Randy, admitting to her that he's been taking it and everything just went to hell, which she thinks she's gonna be mad. But no, she just wonders what he thought of the drug. And I think this is a common sentiment. If this drug was cheap and affordable, who in the world wouldn't take it? I'd take it right now if I could, especially since the show mentions there's no bad side effects. Now, is it a good idea to take medical advice from South Park? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's probably a horrible idea, but I still do it. And these two plot lines end with them in a hotel doing Molly. Hooray! Then we go to the school cafeteria, where the boys are feeling down and just defeated, after all the work they did ended in failure. And we see Cartman eating his disgusting bucket. But it ends with Kyle learning a lesson, that weight loss is a bitch, and it's really hard to do on just pure willpower alone, leading him to convince everyone to not make fun of people for their weight, which gives Cartman exactly what he wanted this entire time. And then he proceeds to insult Kyle, with Kyle being unable to respond. And the special ends with Cartman getting on a flight to Pakistan. This is an amazing special, and I truly do think it is the best one they ever made. Well, except for Terrence and Phillip Not Without My Anus, but that goes without saying. I like to think I showed you how deep this special really was, when they went into the topics of weight loss, body positivity, the sugar industry, and of course, the weight loss drugs. I also think they did a great job in showing what it's like trying to deal with insurance companies and the healthcare system. And one of the notable things in the special was the fact that I didn't hate Randy by the end of it, unlike the last special, or basically since Tegridy Farm started. It was a real return to form for the character. And when it comes to Cartman, of course they weren't going to change the look of one of the most iconic characters in history. But I love the only reason he wanted to be skinny was just so he could be a dick to people. And he got what he wanted anyway. In the end, this special was great, and I absolutely recommend watching it, if you haven't already. With that being said, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you liked this video, why not check out another South Park video I did? If you really liked the video and want to support us, consider becoming a patron, like these great people. If not, a like and subscribe goes a long way. Thanks for watching.